Solana won in multiple key points. So first of all, the speed and the low transaction fees are huge advantages for DePIN projects. An infrastructure that we are building for high precision GPS, this will allow billions of autonomous applications to use our infrastructure. So you will have drone deliveries, you will have autonomous tractor, autonomous bus and cars. These are billions of devices that every day will use our network or infrastructure, and therefore we needed something cheap and fast. But as you mentioned, the third key point, which is crucial for us, is the community. We need to incentivize and educate people what we're doing to make sure that they help us building the infrastructure and also developing continents. And this is also where Solana is the number one layer one currently for us.
Welcome to a very special episode of the Proof of Coverage podcast in person. We're here in Zanzibar, Tanzania on the second leg of the DePIN Summit. I want to start out by asking you what convinced you to come all the way out here to, first Mombasa and then also the second leg here in Zanzibar.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for welcoming me. It's a beautiful place here. I wish the camera people, all the people behind the camera and on the video could also see the view we have.
Very nice.
Why Zanzibar? Why Kenya? First, it's a very simple answer. Onocoy is building a global network to improve the GPS accuracy everywhere. And as I've shown already multiple times in a few projects, with high precision GPS, you can use automated and autonomous applications. But what is currently missing is the coverage of continents like Africa or South America to provide the people down there affordable and accessible high precision GPS. And Onocoy has already started a few years ago with Uganda. We have a partner there, having multiple stations. We have partners in South Africa also connecting. These are institutions actually in South Africa. Mm-hmm. And now this opportunity was great for us to come and cover parts of Kenya and now also Tanzania, because if you can provide an affordable community-owned network with high precision GPS and the people can also, earn a little bit of token, that's the win-win, right? You can use the high-precision GPS now for using autonomous applications. And on top of this, with your station, you can also learn a little bit of cryptos, which allows you to get some passive income. So yeah, these two countries that we currently are visiting, Kenya and Tanzania, are beautiful. And we've also now been able to convince 23 stations to be connected to Onocoy. So we can right now just prove everyone that developing countries are benefiting a lot from DePIN projects like Onocoy.
Definitely, yeah. And what would you say is the problem with the GPS industry today? Obviously, it works most of the time, but I know there's this issue of GPS drift in cities when satellite signals kind of get jammed, between buildings or when there's lots of tall structures. But you also mentioned continents like Africa or emerging markets don't have as good of GPS coverage. Maybe that's because of satellite paths. So I'm curious, what's the issue with GPS today?
So GPS is basically the same for everyone. There are a few dozens of satellites from each big nation orbiting the Earth, but it's much more the distance. So because those satellites are 20,000 kilometers on top of us, streaming us signals that we can use to calculate our own position, this leads to atmospheric delays in the signal exchange. And this only leads to meter accuracy. So if you use Google Maps on your mobile phone, you sometimes see a huge blue circle showing you where you are supposed to be, but it's not easy to exactly know where you are. Sometimes you miss the entrances. And with a DePIN network like Onocoy, where you incentivize people to deploy a small station on the rooftop, you can, with this reference station, improve the GPS accuracy down to centimeters. And now, if you have this centimeter precise GPS, you can start using autonomous applications. It's not going to be useful for you as a Google Maps user to suddenly have a very small point on the map, but it's much more useful if you are a farmer and you want to use autonomous tractors or autonomous vehicles. If you are a startup who uses drone delivery applications or UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, like Zipline. Zipline is a very famous American startup that started in Rwanda, Central Africa. And they are currently every day delivering hundreds of packages from the logistics center to hospitals, to pharmaceutical offices where they need something small. And it takes too much time to deliver it by car. Mm-hmm. So they just use a UAV delivery system. And this system needs centimeter precise GPS so that it can drop the package at the right place and it can fly back.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been excited about Africa as a a place to expand for Onocoy, and you've made some inroads so far, kind of the countries you mentioned. What's like, is the go-to-market different on the supply side in emerging markets like Africa? Like, just how after this trip do you plan to go about trying to get folks to buy hardware and deploy it?
Yeah. So for Onocoy, this is a perfect opportunity because currently we are also preparing to sign 2 to 3 MOUs with institutions, with companies, with national network providers. And also we are right now working with a lot of private companies who are very keen and experienced in GPS and high precision GPS, but which are rather, fighting to extend the networks out of the national borders. And for Onocoy now, this is a perfect opportunity here in Zanzibar or in Kenya to showcase, look, DePIN global network can lower the CapEx and OpEx for each one of you, whether it be a national or a private participant of the market. And it will also allow us all to connect those contributors. And so now if we can showcase that it works well in Kenya, which we are about to do soon, then we can convince mostly everybody on each continent to, contribute, become a valuable miner, or even only just an ambassador. Yeah. So we hope to convince more and more people with this time right now here in Africa that DePIN is a real project. It's not just, something like a meme coin where we give out tokens and make people rich fast, but we really build infrastructures for people who need it, who so far have not been benefited from this new solution, which improves the GPS accuracy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I saw on Explorer, you guys are at around maybe 5,000 stations in like 150, 160 countries. So that's obviously great, pre-mainnet, pre-token launch. What kind of goal do you think you'd have in terms of worldwide kind of total coverage? Like, what are kind of the milestones along the way that you're trying to get to from this 5K initial starting point?
Yeah, very good question. Thank you. I'll try to answer it a little bit more detailed because it's a complex answer in the sense that, first of all, Onocoy is a horizontal project. Horizontal means we only focus on the tokenomics and on our platform. A lot of other projects nowadays are strategically trying to be vertical. You can think of something like Apple. Apple is producing the iPhone, the MacBook, the iPad, the EarPods, and you need to use all of their products so that you can profit from the services. While we are trying to be more horizontal, like Google back in the days, where you can just use Google Maps on every device. You have Gmail from your browsers, and you have Google Search for everybody accessible. And so we do not manufacture hardwares. We do not focus on, providing services. We are just the horizontal project that unites the hardware manufacturing companies and the service providing companies. We're the neutral in between, basically. And now to answer your question, this allows Onocoy to collect and collaborate with all of the stations existing in the world already today. We estimate about 30,000 stations today from national institutions, from companies, from universities, from individuals who use high precision GPS. And these 30,000 stations basically can be connected to Onocoy right away.
Cool.
And this is what we did in Kenya. And this is what we're doing all around the world. And so now with the 5,000 stations, which you mentioned, that we already have in our networks, and we can hopefully soon add those existing 30,000 stations, we only need about 55,000 stations more or 65,000 stations more to cover the whole world. Because in total, 100,000 stations are required to cover the whole world with centimeter precise GPS.
Well, it's really helpful to hear you lay it out like that because one, it's nice that you can tap into supply that's already out there. And I'm assuming there's some, conversations you'll have to have with them, but if you go to them and you kind of explain the projects and they get them bought in, and then also that there's a token incentive, and maybe, the data they're collecting will become even more useful, I'm sure they'd appreciate that. That kind of reminds me of Helium's like brownfield conversions, where they can now go out to any like large deployer of Wi-Fi hotspots, an ISP, a venue or a stadium, and basically say like, you've got this great Wi-Fi network built out. We would like to tap into it. We can, pay you if our customers use it, and it just makes a lot of sense for everyone involved. But and happy to hear that the 100,000 number, because you guys are honestly making good progress towards that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. How's it been scaling that community and like a supply side, like pre-token launch? Like I've heard of this BONO token, BONO. So
Yeah.
maybe tell us a bit about what that is, kind of what stage you are between testnet and mainnet, and anything you can share about like timeline would be awesome to hear.
Yeah, thank you very much for this question as well, man. It's well researched. I appreciate it. Yeah, so far, Onocoy has been starting to reward all the miners with the beta ONO or BONO, as you said. This allowed us basically to already have a lot of information of how our product works. We are now targeting the TGE this July, so this month.
Go.
Yeah, but it's a soft launch, so we're not promoting it that much. We're following the guidance of the professionals, like Helium did, like other DePIN projects did. So we just inform a little bit of our community. We are just going to allow everybody who already collected these beta tokens or BONO tokens to swap them whenever they want to the real ONO tokens.
Nice. Okay.
But to prevent a huge drop in value and a huge sale, we are currently incentivizing them to hold their tokens, their beta tokens, as long as possible by increasing the conversion rate. So the longer you wait by converting your beta tokens to the ONO tokens, the more ONO tokens you will get for each of your BONO tokens.
Good game theory.
Yeah, and so by this, we hope to have a really soft launch. We only list our token on decentralized exchanges. We don't work with any or whatever, because we think, we're not a profit-driven project. We are much more of a long-term infrastructure project, and we need to, keep the players in the game. Only have the real people who want to contribute to building this infrastructure, incentivize the supporters, and not people who just look for the fast money. So July 25, we are doing our TGE, and afterwards, reach 10,000 stations by end of 2025, and then potentially, list our token as well on centralized exchanges.
That's awesome. And then, testnet is on Solana at the moment right now. Will mainnet be as well, or are you still deciding on chains?
Basically, we're already on the mainnet. So since we have started using the beta tokens, our project is completely running well. I mean, we are actually have everything running on Solana, and we used actually the opportunity to only list the beta token so that we can still do some small correction on the smart contracts or whatever we need to.
Okay.
And I mean, our project is 3 years old, which is pretty slow for a TGE. I mean, it's not so common. But we also had to complete a lot of milestones since a lot of our funding came from research grants.
Yeah.
So since we are working on a real world product and a real world project, which has already a huge product market fit, we were pretty well supported by institutions like European Space Agency, like Innovation Switzerland, with a big 7-digit amount of grants.
That's great.
And this allowed us to very well develop our product, to not too much be focused on other things, because we had the money to do the research. We had the money to improve the UX, UI, and to simplify the processes and to test it all. And with the beta tokens running since more than 1.5 years, it was the perfect setup for us to build Onocoy.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, cool to hear about the progress and that you're actually much closer to mainnet maybe than everyone realized. What's it been like building on Solana in the Solana ecosystem community? Like, have you interacted with the foundation or labs teams? Just what's the whole experience been like?
Yeah, so back in 2022, it was a huge discussion for us. Which layer one are we going to choose? You had a lot of DePIN focused layer ones like IoTex, where we know you from. We had Solana, of course. We had Polygon. We had so many different situations. And for us, it was a very tough decision to find the right layer one. And what we then did is we wrote a huge research post. We discussed it very deeply in our team, and Solana won in multiple key points. So first of all, the speed and the low transaction fees are huge advantages for DePIN projects. And because if you imagine an infrastructure that we are building for high precision GPS, this will allow billions of autonomous applications to use our infrastructure. So you will have drone deliveries, you will have autonomous tractor, autonomous bus and cars. So these are billions of devices that every day will use our network or infrastructure, and therefore we needed something cheap and fast. But as you mentioned, the third key point, which is crucial for us, is the community. We need to incentivize and educate people what we're doing, and to make sure that they help us building the infrastructure and also developing continents. And this is also where Solana is like, the number one layer one currently for us, because they have the super teams. They have all these different events which they are organizing, the APEX and APEC, and this is perfect. So just as a short input, an example, I just visited Vietnam as Summit APEC, and this was so cool because all of the super teams from Asia were united in this 1 week.
Wow.
And I was allowed to, talk with all the super team, like Vietnam, super team Japan, super team Korea, super team Malaysia. And if you talk with those people, explain them your DePIN project, then they are so on fire. They want to bring this good infrastructure to their home country as well. And then you get the support from them. And yeah, this was so nice to see that you have a huge community of Solana friendly people or Solana enthusiasts, which are now going to, organize small meetups and events with you together. Yeah, we speak the same language. We have the same vision and mission, and that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Glad to hear you had a good experience out there. That's awesome. Last question I want to ask you is around the demand side. So I know you guys are pretty early stage. Like, have you started to monetize yet? If so, like any revenue numbers or like any kind of maybe use cases or clients you want to name? You mentioned some before, but I just want to double tap on demand.
Yeah, please. So we started last summer, 2024, by offering the business to customer product, the B2C. This was allowing everyone in the world to just use our RTK GPS.
API, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We launched it. It was a simple pay $20. And then for the rest of the month, you have a very cheap access to the correction data. This was very easy. But we realized, of course, this is not going to be our main product because there are not so many people using this high precision GPS. Maybe a few people, if they want to do
developers or hackers,
hackers, but also farmers. Maybe there's a farmer who doesn't want to set up a station on himself, so he just can access it through our platform. This was the first test we started. Now in 2025, in spring, that's like March-ish, we started with the B2B product. B2B product means we are now targeting specific, nationwide network operators. So imagine somewhere in America, you have a company that has 2,000 RTK stations or GPS improving stations. And now maybe this company wants to extend their services to Mexico or to Canada. For them, it's extremely expensive if they suddenly build their own networks up to Canada. So the CapEx are high. You need we estimate about more than 1,000 station of OpEx per year for each station. That's way too much. So now through Onocoy, basically, this big company with 2,000 stations in America, they can just, we can negotiate or we can just start building up the network in Canada for them, which is much cheaper because each miner only spends a few $100s by buying a station or by connecting or even building their own station. And then this national company in America can suddenly use or access the network whenever they want to by paying per usage in Canada. So they save a lot of money, they extend their services, and ideally at the same time, they will also connect their 2,000 stations to Onocoy to make it even cheaper, because then they earn something and they can use it to access the network outside of their country or outside of the market. And so basically this allows everyone to extend the services. It saves costs, it makes it cheaper, and it's basically a win-win.
It's a good pitch. Yeah, the bigger your network gets, the more of a moat you have, in the sense that other people, it'll cost them more to replicate the size of the network and the coverage it has. Where would you want to direct our listeners to learn more or get involved in any kind of way, shape, or form?
Yeah, probably the best way is always to follow proof of coverage, I assume. I mean, you guys are doing the well research, and I appreciate all your work.
Yeah.
And for us, it's just our website. So onocoy.com, you will find all the information on there. We also have a YouTube channel. We try to communicate much more, like you guys are doing it with podcasts, with instruction videos, because that's the simplest way for people to just listen while they're cooking and learn much more. I think these two are the only things that we can provide, which are useful. If you're very Web3 enthusiastic, of course, Twitter as well is a channel. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, Sam, thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Connor.
Appreciate it. Yeah.